Metta Bhavana. Section. Friday evening. This morning, I simply asked you to recite just the first line over and over. On other occasions, you may recite the other lines, one at a time, over and over. Then you can recite all four if you want, but the most important is the first one. You could just take this first line like a mantra, which is to be repeated over and over and over again. This practice of Metta Bhavana is samatha meditation. This means that we have one object of meditation, and we try to concentrate on that one object. The one object could be just the first line, or one of the other lines, or all four of those lines, one after the other. In any way, you are concentrating your mind by remembering the words and repeating them over and over again. We don't only do this in the sitting posture. We can do it when we are walking, standing, or lying down. We can do it as we are walking between buildings, when we are eating, when we are going to the bathroom, or doing any other activity. No matter what you do, you can occupy your mind with these thoughts of loving kindness. For those of you who have learned Vipassana, mindfulness or insight meditation, it might be somewhat difficult to do. This is because you will find that your mind keeps coming back to a reality or a present moment process. This is not bad, but if you want to develop loving kindness, it is good to have some continuity of your concentration on these lines. If your concentration is broken by something you see or hear or think about, then you just bring your mind back to the lines again. In Vipassana meditation, if any defilements or hindrances arise in the mind, we take them as the object of meditation. But in samatha, you just ignore them and keep going with one object. In this case, we just bring the mind back to the recitation or reciting the words of loving kindness. When we are developing loving kindness, we should not have painful sensations in the body. When we are sitting for meditation, it is okay to change your posture, because when we have pain in the body, negativity can arise in the mind. You should also sit comfortably. Also, now when you are listening to the Dhamma, natural law/Buddhist teachings, you should relax and sit comfortably. If you get any other hindrances arising in the sitting meditation, then you should ignore and disregard them, and just bring your mind back to the reciting of the words. In the case of sleepiness, you may even open your eyes in order to avoid the sleepiness. Loving kindness meditation is quite a freestyle development because we can be in any posture. So if you are feeling discomfort in your sitting meditation, you can change, or you can get up and do some walking. On the other hand, don't make yourself so comfortable that you may fall asleep. Sit up straight and keep your body alert. Keep your mind fresh. As explained this morning, we need to develop the loving kindness strongly within our own mind first. This is to allow us to really experience true loving kindness within our own hearts. The only place that you can experience loving kindness is within your own heart. If you can learn how to develop loving kindness within your own heart, you won't be depending upon or relying upon others for your loving kindness. This builds strength of character. Most people in the world are trying to find a partner, someone who will give them love. The reason that we do this is that there is something we feel is missing inside our own heart, some emptiness. We may feel that we are missing love in our heart. We have the desire to feel love in our own heart. This is natural. Everybody wants to be loved. We want to feel complete. We want to be accepted and needed/loved by others. In the ordinary way of life, we are not taught about metta. Many of you have been taught about metta because you have been brought up as Buddhists. But even so, there is a tendency to misunderstand metta as love. The basic difference is that love has some attachments, some self-interest, some selfishness, even just a little bit. In this life, we do things for ourselves. In fact, everything you do has your own self-interest attached to it. The way you wear your hair. You do your hair to make yourself feel good. The way you dress is to make yourself feel and look attractive. You eat food to make yourself healthy, or you might eat food because of your own greediness. Both ways you are trying to fulfill your own desire. This desire is not bad. It's natural self-interest. So, as we go through life, we are always trying to fulfill our own desires, our own dreams. Sometimes we do selfless acts, like helping our family or working for other people. But usually we do things to get something for ourselves. In some people, this is very strong. In some people, it is barely noticeable. So these four wishes naturally arise for ourselves. This is a natural way for living beings. Loving-kindness meditation is not so much a path that leads to nibbana, enlightenment. It is more a path and practice that leads to devaloka, heaven, or a happy human rebirth. Because metta is a heavenly or divine quality, it is likely that if you develop it properly, when you die, you will be reborn in a divine realm. When we practice vipassana meditation, we are on the path to nibbana. Sometimes when we practice vipassana, we see things objectively, just as they are. Vipassana can be very realistic. Sometimes reality, the truth, can be a little bit hard or cold, impersonal, not very emotional. Practicing metta can assist us in our vipassana practice. It brings a little bit of softness back to our realization of the truth. Sometimes when you are practicing vipassana, you can see a lot of mental and physical dukkha, suffering. The Buddha taught that this is a natural part of a human nature, human existence. To give a little bit of loving kindness towards yourself, whilst you are doing vipassana, either in a retreat or daily life, is very good for you. We need to know that the practice of metta alone is not the only or single way that leads to the peace of nibbana. However, it is still a part of the Noble Eightfold Path. For example, thinking about the welfare of yourself or any living being is right thought. If we speak about metta, then it is right speech. If our action is harmless, we can say it is right action. While you live here in a meditation retreat, your livelihood is also right livelihood, according to your metta practice. Also, if you can learn the way of loving kindness in a retreat, hopefully you can take it home and use it in your daily life. Then your livelihood, your occupation, will be one that has metta in it. Metta here means harmlessness, consideration for other beings, so maybe your livelihood, your occupation will be harmless. To have loving kindness as we go through our daily lives, when we are dealing with people, is very important. We are putting effort into developing loving kindness, so we are also developing right effort. We have right mindfulness because we are remembering the lines of metta. Mindfulness can mean to remember. We remember to be harmless, to develop metta. As you are concentrating on the words of loving kindness, you have right concentration. Some realization can arise out of your mindfulness and concentration. That means right understanding. With right understanding, you have right thought. With right thought, your sila, morality, is purified. When your sila is purified, you can develop samadhi, concentration. Samadhi leads to panya, wisdom. So practicing loving-kindness meditation is also part of the development towards enlightenment. It is not the only direct path, it just helps along the way. Sometimes I like to say that mindfulness is our work, or our responsibility, or our duty, and metta is our hobby. Even the keeping of our precepts can be considered as an act of metta. When we are keeping precepts, we are harming no other beings, nor are we harming ourselves. In this way, we are also developing or practicing metta. It is important for you to understand or experience these 4 wishes for yourselves. These 4 wishes should become an experience for you. If you are experiencing some mental or physical suffering, then you should wish for yourself, may I be free from mental and physical suffering. That is, may I be safe from inner and outer harm. If you don't feel happy or peaceful, you should say, may I be happy and peaceful. Repeat it many times. Or if you feel sick or weak, you should recite many times for yourself, may I be healthy and strong. If things are not going well for you in life, you should recite, may I be able to take care of myself joyfully. Even if you do feel that you are free from mental and physical suffering just now, you can still say to yourself, may I be safe from inner and outer harm. And then you really feel it. If you repeat over and over, may I be safe from inner and outer harm. May I be safe from inner and outer harm. May I be safe from inner and outer harm. If you keep saying it, you will actually experience the feeling of being safe from inner and outer harm. So you keep repeating these lines. When you repeat these lines, the mind becomes concentrated. Then it will be calm and still. If you feel happy and peaceful, and you say, may I be happy and peaceful 3 times, and continue to repeat that, it increases the happiness and peace that you feel inside your heart. So you really feel happy and peaceful. Again, at the time you recite it over and over again, there is no suffering in your mind. Your concentration on these words and phrases is keeping away the hindrances, the defilements of the mind. In that way, you naturally become happy and peaceful. It is the same for the other lines. At any time when you are reciting these 4 lines and you are thinking about the meaning, you can check, now, am I safe from inner and outer harm? Am I happy and peaceful? Am I healthy and strong? Right now, in the present moment, is everything working out okay? If you are practicing metta correctly, then the answers to these 4 questions should all be positive. In this way, these 4 wishes become a present moment experience for you. I am peaceful in my mind. I am healthy and strong now. Everything is okay just now. With this good feeling you have, you continue with the development of loving kindness. That peace and tranquility can increase. This is the reason for practicing loving kindness meditation, to develop this peace of heart, peace of mind. When we feel it within ourselves, then we can share it with others. This evening, we'll explore a wider field of metta. We'll share our metta with others. There are 5 different categories of people to whom we can systematically develop metta in order to make it strong. The The categories are: first, to oneself; second, to a respected person; third, to a dear friend; fourth, to a neutral person; fifth, to a hostile person. Today you have been practicing saying the phrases for yourself. When this becomes strong, both in concentration and in feeling, we are ready to share it with another. The person of the second category is someone like a teacher, respected elder, auntie, uncle, grandparent, or even a guardian. Someone who's been kind to you, especially someone wise who has guided you well. Your Dharma teacher is a good, quote, target for metta. Not because the Dhamma teacher is greedy to receive loving kindness, but when you truly see the Dhamma, when you really understand or experience the true Dhamma, it is the greatest thing that you experience in your life. They say that the Dhamma is the greatest gift. It excels or is better than all other gifts. If someone gives you the Dhamma, then you want to repay them. Also, a Dhamma teacher is a teacher of life. Wherever you go or whatever you do, often the words of the teacher come back to you. In this way, they can be very close to your heart. There are 2 points that we must remember when developing or sending loving kindness to others. We don't develop loving kindness towards people we are physically or sexually attracted to, because some dreams or fantasies or such things will arise in our minds. This also applies to your Dhamma teacher. So to the best of our ability, we should choose someone like Chenmay Sayadaw, or maybe you have got a Dhamma teacher who had taught you in your life. The other people that you shouldn't do loving kindness towards are those who are already dead. We don't develop loving kindness towards them because we don't know where they are now. We don't know what existence they have been reborn in. Your loving kindness is somewhat dispersed or scattered. We only do it towards living people. We may share merits with the departed ones, but that's another story. Not for now. This second person that you send loving kindness to may be an auntie or an uncle, or just somebody who has guided you, or helped you well in life. Someone to whom you look up to, whom you admire. Someone whose words often come to your mind. You remember them very often. In fact, your loving kindness flows very easily to these persons. You have a natural desire to share your loving kindness with them. When you develop and repeat these 4 phrases towards this person, you feel very close to them. You feel like your loving kindness becomes their loving kindness, and that there is no barrier between your heart and their heart. So it becomes a very natural flow of loving kindness towards that person. No hindrances arise in that sending of loving kindness. You may develop loving kindness for your parents in this category. However, sometimes developing metta towards parents can be a little bit tricky. In our lives, our parents have done great things for us. They have taught us and shown us many things. However, as part of their duties, they have also had to scold us, punish us. Also, we may be very attached to our parents. Our relationship with our parents is very complicated, we can say. A lot of emotional feelings are involved. Whereas, if we take a teacher, respected elder, or even a guardian, someone who has looked after us in life, then our feelings towards them are very simple and straightforward. Often, when we are young, our relationship with our parents can be unstable. But then, as we get older, our relationship with our parents, particularly when we ourselves become parents, becomes a bit more stable. So if your relationship with your parents is very stable now, and you are happy with your relationship with them, they can be a good subject for meta development. You may choose one or the other, one parent at a time. One this time, the other one next time. The third person that we develop loving kindness towards is a dear friend. Again, this is not someone that you are physically attracted to. It is more someone that you could share your deepest, darkest secrets with, and know that they would never tell anybody. In English, we say, quote, kindred spirit, but I wouldn't expect you to translate that. If you don't have someone so amazingly close to you, you can just choose someone who is a good friend. Again, the criteria here is someone to whom your loving kindness flows very easily. After you develop loving kindness for yourself fully, and then for your benefactor or respected elder, that person becomes like a natural extension of yourself. They are like a part of you. You often remember them. This dear friend is also like this. So when we develop loving kindness towards these people, it is very easy, very natural, and it flows nicely. Then we select a neutral person. A neutral person means somebody that you know is alive, but you don't know anything about their character. It could be someone who works at the bank that you go to. It could be your next-door neighbor's gardener. Or it could be the bus driver that you see going past every day. Someone completely neutral. Now, when you develop loving kindness for this person, this is when some hindrances may arise. Such as, quote, I don't know this person. Why should I send loving kindness to them? They don't mean anything to me. I don't get anything out of giving loving kindness to them. End quote. This is the point where you might realize that we are mainly doing, quote, love as opposed to, quote, loving kindness. In our lives, we are normally practicing love, but loving kindness is different. It is unconditional. It is hard to send loving kindness to somebody you don't know. This is testing your loving kindness. Do you really have unconditional well-wishing for another person that you don't know? If you can develop loving kindness towards a neutral person, and start to have the same feeling that you have for the first three people, then your loving kindness is becoming strong. This is good. Then, with this strong metta, you are able to share your loving kindness with a hostile person or an enemy. This means someone who is hostile towards you, or someone to whom you are hostile, or someone with whom the loving kindness between the two of you has been broken. Again, this tests your loving kindness. When you think about this person, anger or frustration arises. But remember, this is samatha meditation, so we just ignore that negative mental state, and we just recite the phrases. We just push on, reciting the phrases. If, after some time, you still don't seem to develop anything, any positive feeling towards that person, then you may go back to any of the first, second, or third people. At that time, you might feel angry, so you can do loving kindness for yourself until your mind calms down. Or you can develop loving kindness towards your teacher or your dear friend. Then you can go back to either the same neutral person or another neutral person, and then you can go back to that hostile person again. If you still don't get anywhere with developing loving kindness towards that person, you can change to another hostile person. Even if you do not have a hostile person in your life now, you may use somebody from the past, as long as you know they are alive. So in this way, we are making our loving kindness very strong. One of the main points here is to try to feel strong loving kindness first before you move on to the next person. If your loving kindness is strong, you can share it with anyone, anytime. In this way, I would like you to practice your loving kindness development, still mainly concentrating on yourself. Please don't expect any great feeling. Just try to repeat these phrases over and over. It is the practice that brings about the results. Expecting results is just a hindrance. If you forget to say the words of loving kindness, it doesn't matter. Just start again in the present. This teaches you patience, just starting again and again. Once you have done a session of specific loving kindness, maybe a sitting or a walking session for a half or 1 hour, then you can finish off with general loving kindness towards all living beings, just reciting the 4 phrases for all living beings. Also, as I said earlier, just as you meet other beings as you go around, you meet another person, or you meet any little creature, then you should develop loving kindness towards them, even just briefly. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be healthy and strong. And then come back to your own loving kindness, especially somebody who is doing something that annoys you. Firstly, you might like to say, "May I be happy and peaceful. May I be happy and peaceful." Then you can say it for them. In this way, we can continue to develop our loving kindness. Tomorrow, I will explain how to extend our loving kindness towards other beings. Even for tonight and tomorrow morning, if you don't share your loving kindness with any other being, I think it is a good practice just to concentrate on yourself. You need loving kindness, and maybe nobody else is giving it to you, so you must develop it within yourself. When your own metta is strong, then you can share it with others. Please continue to develop your concentration with the practice of metta. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May all beings live in peace and harmony. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. You feel like your loving kindness becomes their loving kindness, and there's no barrier between your heart and their heart. End of section.